Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 podcast. I'm Hugh, and I've got Joe here with me instead of Dara because he's busy. And we've got our special guest today from the Louis 11 channel. It is Louis. Louis, thanks for coming on, mate. How's things?
Yeah, good, mate. I mean, can't really complain at the moment given the form we're in and how well we're playing. So, yeah, all good, mate. All good. Are you?
Yeah, man, never better, never better. Like you said, the form is fantastic. We're going to preview the United game, the big derby, the one we all look forward to when the fixtures come out. So Louis very kindly come on to give his thoughts. What are your overall thoughts going into it? I feel like all the previews we do, I just sound like a broken record because I'm just saying confidence is high. We're winning all the time. Players doing well. What are you thinking, bro?
Nah, it's similar to me, to be honest. It is like every week when you've won 21 games in a row, you constantly think we've got to win. But I mean, for the derby, I suppose it's one probably slightly less confident for. Obviously, they're not in the best form, but they always turn up against us. And I don't know what it is since Ollie's been at United. Their record against us is actually really good, apart from the semi-final last year. Like they've got a strong record. I think that's the only issue. But given our form and the way we're playing this year, we should be okay. I mean, fingers crossed anyway.
Yeah, I don't see why not. The confidence should be sky high. Once again, a broken record. But you're right, though. You make a good point there on United. They seem to do pretty poor in the small games, but then randomly they'll turn up against us.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's okay with me, though, because it means Ollie keeps his job. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like sacrifice something small for the greater good. Do you know what I mean?
I saw a tweet about that saying at least when the only benefit out of them turning up against us is the fact that Ollie stays in his job and they get the confident high again just to lose to like Crystal Palace away or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, their form has not been great. I think they've not scored in something like 3 games. It was a 0-0 for them against Palace, Chelsea, and whoever it was before that. So I don't know where their main threat is. We're also doing an opposition fan view actually in a separate video, which will be up on the same day as this video. So for you guys at home, keep an eye out for that. But where do you think their main threat comes from, Louis? I'm really not sure anymore. Bruno doesn't turn up in the big games. That's fact. I know it's probably not fair to say because he's a good player, but it's fact. He hasn't turned up in a big game. But I don't know. Who do you think is the main threat?
I mean, interesting you say that about Bruno because I saw a stat on Instagram yesterday. One of my mates sent it to me, but Bruno's got the same amount of goal contributions against the Big Six that Ederson does now in terms of goals and assists combined. Because he's got one goal.
I saw that.
Yeah, Ederson's got the assist against Spurs, obviously. So yeah, I'd love to see that. But I don't know really. In terms of big threats, it's difficult, especially because he's their main threat normally. But if he's not turning up against the Big Six, I don't really know. You can turn to Rashford, but he hasn't been in the best form recently either. Like he was quite poor against Palace. I don't know if you saw like that argument he had with Maguire and stuff, but
yeah, I saw that.
Doesn't look too good. But I don't know. Rashford potentially. I mean, Bruno. You can't look past Bruno. I know he's got that record against the Big Six, but given how good he's been this year, he could still turn up at any moment, I suppose.
I think, I agree with you. He's got the ability. He's a good player. I'm not going to shoot him down completely. He wouldn't be playing for Man United if he wasn't a good player. But I think if Cavani plays, he's a bit of a silent assassin. I just hope Diaz and Stones can keep tabs on him. I'm going to come to you, Joe, really quickly. What are your thoughts going into it? Where do you think their threats are?
I mean, I think one of the key matchups will be whoever plays on the right, whether it be Sterling, Mahrez, Foden, whoever plays there is going to have to try and get past one of their most on-form players this season in Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw's been one of the best left-backs in the country this season, which credit to him. He's stepped his game up, and whoever's on the right will need to try and get past him, probably get doubled up. Maguire plays on the left side as a left centre-back, so that could be an interesting point of attack.
Yeah.
I think the matchup of Mahrez and Shaw will be good. They're both full of confidence. Like you said, Shaw's probably one of their best players this season, if not their best. He's turned his career around, to be fair to him. He's doing really well. But Mahrez had a fantastic month in February. He scored loads of goals. And he's starting to add things to his game that I was complaining about for a long time, about going on the outside using his right foot, because we've actually scored 2 goals now since I went on that rant on the podcast a few weeks ago from Mahrez using his right foot. So he should be sky high in confidence like the rest of the players should. And I think that'll be a fantastic matchup. What do you think about that, Louis?
Yeah, no, I think that would be a really good matchup. I mean, that's obviously given Pep's rotation, provided Mahrez starts, but with the form he's in, I think he probably will. But if he comes up against Shaw, yeah, it will be good because obviously Mahrez is a very skillful player. It'd be interesting if you can take him on. And Shaw, quite a physical guy, can obviously, like you said, been defending really well this season. So that, as a matchup, I think that'll be interesting to see for sure.
He's quite an attacking threat as well, Luke Shaw. He likes to go down the left and put in crosses. So that kind of begs the question of who does Pep choose to play as our right full? You've got Walker, who I think has played well whenever he's come on, but it's kind of hard to overlook Cancelo, who has been absolutely revolutionary for the team in terms of creativity. You know, when De Bruyne got injured there in January, I think it was, we were kind of questioning where the creativity is going to come from. And obviously Gundogan stepped up. He played fantastic. But Cancelo was a bit of a dark horse. He came out of nowhere, started, whipping in crosses. And I think he got a couple of goals as well, if I'm not wrong. Who do you play at right back for this game?
I think it's difficult because, like you say, Cancelo's arguably one of our key threats and best players this season as a whole. But Walker's always really consistent, and defensively, I think Walker still is slightly better. So I don't know. Although you say that Zinchenko's been playing well as well on the left, it's a good position to be in because you've got 3 good choices. But I don't know whether Walker could be potentially better suited in terms of defensively. But then you could easily put Cancelo on the left hand side.
Yeah, I find it kind of hard to overlook Zinchenko as well because he's kind of just given the simple task. He's not a left back, we know that, even though he's played a lot there for us recently. But he's kind of just given the simple task of just do the basics of football, as Fabian Delph said one day, and just keep their right winger quiet. And he's done that to a T, I think, this season anyway. Whenever he's been called upon. But I think we will go with Cancelo on the left, Walker on the right. I just think that's great. We're in a fantastic position at City at the moment where we've got a defense so solid and so many fantastic options. I think Pep said this morning in his press conference that we have a fully fit squad. I don't think Ake will feature, but he's back in training and it's the first time this season. So what a great position to be in.
Exactly.
Joe, what are your thoughts on the right back position and the defense in general?
I think it's a difficult one because we've got so many players who are on form who you could arguably start. But I think if we want to go and transition into this 3 in possession, then if you're going to play Walker with Cancelo on the left inverting, then you need a left footer in the team, in the back line somewhere. Because we saw against West Ham when we didn't play, when Zinchenko inverted, it was almost Diaz was on the left and he wasn't comfortable, and he's done that a couple of times and he hasn't been comfortable. So I think I'd personally go with Zinchenko just to keep that, the system that works, a left footer on the left side. Unless you got Laporte, but Diaz and Stones have to start for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Laporte, Louis, your thoughts on the centre back situation, because Stones and Diaz have obviously been the big pairing for us this season. They've really come together and formed a fantastic relationship. But Laporte, I think recently, has found his feet again. He's playing really well, and it's kind of hard to overlook him because he's so solid. And like Joe said, he's a left footer. Who do you go with? What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's a good position to be in, obviously, because we saw Laporte get injured last year or be out, and obviously Stones comes into the side, plays really well, and you see Pep in his press conferences say that Stones just played so well alongside Diaz that you can't really drop him, which is fair enough, and I think is good because if you play him well, you can't really be dropped. But like you say, Laporte's been playing a bit more recently and playing really well. But I do agree with the fact of what Joe said with if we do play Cancelo on the left, then you kind of do need a left foot in the back line just to even it out a bit, balance it out, I guess. So if Cancelo starts on the left and Walker on the right, I think Laporte should start. But if you play Zinchenko and Zinchenko and Cancelo or Walker, obviously, I think I'd play Stones and Diaz in the middle.
Yeah, I just love Stones and Diaz. There's something so special about their relationship. I know they're high-fiving each other and they big each other up. And they're actually both goal threats now. Diaz got his first goal for the club. Stones has got a few now this season, if I'm not wrong. And he got one against United, so he loves one against United. And if he starts this weekend, I'm sure he'll want another one. But yeah, like we said, it's a fantastic position to be in terms of the amount of fantastic defenders of the club when you compare it to last season when we're using Fernandinho as a centre-half beside whoever, Otamendi or an out-of-form Stones. So it's a massive turnaround, and it's reflected really well on the results. But in terms of the midfield, there's obviously some fantastic options there, and the wings, of course. Everyone's in form, everyone's doing really well. It's kind of hard to leave anyone out. And the fact that we even had to have the conversation whether do you play Foden in the team, do you play Sterling in the team, Bernardo, all these players. It's crazy, and it's like that's also reflecting on the pitch and in terms of results. What's your ideal midfield this weekend, Louis?
Difficult one, obviously. I think I'd play Rodri Holding.
This, by the way, I hate answering this question. I just need to ask you.
Yeah, no, it is a difficult question, and I normally do the same, to be honest. But I'd probably play Rodri Holding because obviously we could play Fernandinho, but Rodri, yeah, great player this season, and obviously playing really well, so hard to drop. But then in front of him, it's where it gets difficult because you had De Bruyne injured, and you had Bernardo and Gundogan both playing really well. De Bruyne comes back, you got 3. I don't know. I feel like you can't not play De Bruyne against United. I feel like you have to. And it's difficult. Since Gundogan's come back from injury, he hasn't sort of hit the form that he'd left off just before that injury. Well, obviously, he's playing really well, scoring ridiculous goals, probably having the best season he's ever had. But I don't know. I'd probably play Bernardo and De Bruyne for this one.
Yeah, they both kind of add something different. Bernardo's got that energy around the pitch, and he's like a Duracell bunny, really. He can go all day. And then De Bruyne, when he's on form, he's the creative man, isn't he? But the thing is with De Bruyne, he's been a bit rusty since he's come back from his injury. I think it's fair to say. I love the guy, but he's not been at his best since he's come back, which is fair enough. When you're out for 4 to 6 weeks, you're naturally going to get a bit rusty.
Yeah.
But you're right, though, when you said it's kind of hard to not play him in this big game. You need him on the pitch, don't you?
Exactly. That's what makes it difficult. But De Bruyne, yeah, like you say, he's been rusty since he came back, so he could easily not play. But I feel like Gundogan, to an extent, has been the same. I know he only had a minor injury, but he came back, and against Arsenal, he was a bit average. And then he came against Wolves, and to be fair, he had that shot well saved, and then obviously Jesus got the follow-up. But yeah, I don't know. It's safe. I think it's safe to say neither of the two of them have been like as good as they were before the injury. So I don't know. Yeah, it's difficult to choose between the two.
I think he'll play. I think he'll play myself. Joe, what do you think? You go with him?
Personally, I'd drop both Gundogan and De Bruyne. I wouldn't start either of them. That's my controversial opinion.
What?
I'd play a midfield two of Bernardo and Foden just to get everyone in the team. I think Foden has to start somewhere, and Mahrez has been on form, so I'd start him on the right. Would you drop Sterling? No, I wouldn't. He's looked really good off the left recently when he's been in the team. Jesus scored twice, so I think he'll play. So I think, personally, I'd go Bernardo and Foden in the midfield. I don't think Kevin De Bruyne has quite earned his place. We know, obviously, he's going to get back into the team because Kevin De Bruyne, he's the best player at the club at the moment. But since he's come back from injury, I think he's been pretty average.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. The way United set up, though, and we know exactly how they'll set up, is really defensive, and they'll try to counter-attack. And I think if De Bruyne is on his game, he's naturally the most suitable player for getting through them and getting in between the lines and unlocking the passes and playing players through. But when he does play a player through, I don't want it to be Gabriel Jesus on the end of it, which is my next topic. I know he scored a few goals recently, but I've had a bit of an agenda on Jesus for a while now, because I just think he misses too many opportunities. And in a game like United, where I know, listen, we've got a comfortable lead at the top of the table, but you want to beat United. It's a derby. So when you get these chances, he gets 4 or 5 a game, Jesus, and he sometimes maybe will score one, or he might not score any. A fully fit, slightly younger Sergio Aguero would score them all, but he's not fit enough to play, is he? Well, who do you like to see in the striker or the false nine role, Louis?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I do agree with you with the Jesus thing to a good extent, because he has missed a lot of chances. Like, I think the most memorable one recently was against Gladbach. Do you know when he was played through and he had ages and loads of time to hit that?
Yeah.
Kept going, and just wasting the opportunity. And I even think against Wolves, don't get me wrong, he scored 2 goals. But let's be honest, those 2 goals were both tap-ins, and
he could have had 3 or 4 that game.
Away. Exactly. And in the first half, I literally didn't see him involved like ever in that first half either. Admittedly, we weren't great in the first half, but like, do you know what I mean? What was he doing in that first half against Wolves? I barely saw him.
I know, it's annoying, man, and it's fine in those games where we have all the ball and you expect to win, because he'll get chance after chance. But in a derby, you don't have that kind of comfort, and the mentality is a bit different, and you want someone clinical there. And you could see maybe Foden playing the false nine. He does a fantastic job there. But I think we should get the score predictions now, which we could all have different predictions. Joe is usually controversial with these things, so I'm going to come to you, Joe. What do you predict the score will be this weekend?
I think when we were streaming yesterday, I gave a prediction. I said I think it's just going to be another 2-0. We haven't been scoring obviously, Wolves, we did score 4, but it's not like we've been scoring loads of goals recently. I mean, we have just come back off February, which is the toughest month we've had. But I think 2-0 will keep a clean sheet. They haven't scored in 3 games, so that might be something to look out for, because if there's ever a time where they're likely to break that goal-scoring record, it's probably against us.
They're unbeaten in 21 games, actually, I've just remembered. So they've got a bit of confidence. They're just not scoring the goals. But I'm going to say myself a 3-1. I said Cavani is a silent assassin earlier on the video, and I think if he plays, he's going to nip one somehow. But it may not be like to equalize. It'll just be like maybe a consolation goal. I think we'll win, because I think the lads will all want to put in a big shift. Because like we said earlier on in the week, beat Wolves, beat United. I know it's not mathematically done, but I think it's El Rapo at that stage. It's just done. No one's catching us. But Louis, what do you think? What's your prediction?
Yeah, I can see United getting some sort of lucky goal in the game. I do think we're going to win, but I can see them getting some sort of goal. And like Joe said, if they're going to score against someone, it definitely will be us. So I reckon 2-1 City.
2-1 City. That's a modest answer, I think. And I do see them scoring those well. I agree. And we're going to put Louis' full predicted 11 on screen now. You up?
Sorry, mate. You go.
No, if you something to say, go for it.
Now, all I'm going to say is I often underpredict City purely because, especially in games like this, not in like smaller games, but in big games, I often underpredict just because I don't really want to tempt with fate. But 2-1, it's still a win at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can understand. I'm a bit like that myself, jinxing and whatnot. But anyway, we're going to put Louis' full predicted 11 on screen now. So leave in the comments down below what you think of that. If you change anything up, it's obviously a massive game. We're all really looking forward to it. And a massive thank you to you, Louis, for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you on, and we'll hopefully have you on again sometime.
Yeah, nice one. Thanks for having me on. Good to talk to you. That.
Go check out his channel. He does some fantastic live streams, and it's a lot of interaction there. It's a great place to be. Go check it out. Louis11. Thanks for watching, guys. It's always great to have you here. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We're trying to hit our target of 150 by the end of March, and we're getting there. With these new live streams we do on Thursdays. Hugh and Dara's Thursday Night Takeaway. Had good fun there last night. Come next week if you want. Have a chat with us. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.